I know a lot of people love to talk about your 1991 Bowman rookie card. That's kind of this quintessential rookie card of yours. But I want a twist on it here. I was doing some research, and I came across the 1990 Pro Cards Single A, Double A Minor League Stars card, number 132. And the crazy thing about this card, Javy, is it's got this like safety cone orange. It's got this orange border to it. So I want to know, do you remember that card at all? And tell me something about it.
Is that the one I got right here?
There it is right there. There he is. Javy Lopez, Pro Cards.
That was I think that was the very first car I ever seen. I was in Burlington, Iowa, and that was my third year in the minor leagues. And I was wondering, when do I start getting baseball card? Because I've seen a lot of these players getting baseball card right away in the minor leagues, and I was wondering when my baseball card is finally going to come out. And
Jameel Muhammad and Jeff Cardozo dive into the hobby, which is sports cards, trading cards, as well as all other collectibles, right now on the Meelypod Hobby Podcast, live from the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill.
Hey everybody, it is that time once again, the Meelypod Hobby Podcast coming at you from Spurrier's Gridiron Grill in Celebration Point. He is Jameel Muhammad. I am Jeff Cardozo. We are happy that you have joined us. We've got a baseball-themed podcast today. Javy Lopez, former Atlanta Brave right there in the mid-'90s, all those nostalgic years of the great pitchers. But certainly Javy was great offensively and did a lot of really fun things. So we'll talk to him in just a little bit. So I guess if we're sticking with the baseball theme, number 21, that's what this podcast is. Roger Clemens, Roberto Clemente. There's a couple of
Clemente might have him
21s.
Yeah, he might have him beat there. Clemente, I mean, you know about Clemente cards, when people come into the shop, we don't ever have them because they always sell.
Really?
And again, you know, the whole world of the Hispanic culture in baseball, right? Yeah. And he is such an icon. So his vintage cards, whether they be PSA 1s or PSA 10s, like they always, well, there's not many PSA 10s, but PSA 6s and 7s and 8s that people always want Clemente.
Yeah, I'm certainly they do. Well, I'm sure people wanted Fanatics Fest down in Orlando, but it looks like that is a no-go. I know you were part of that one in New York, I guess about a month ago now, which is crazy. That's when Gronk spiked the card, and there was a lot of fun things happening, but apparently not happening now, right?
Yeah, Tebow was there, so I was hoping for a Tebow Tebow spike for this one. No, they canceled the event. I think a lot of people in the hobby community are kind of in uproar, I guess you would say, is the term. A lot of people made plans to come to this event. There was a lot of FOMO from that New York event, so they thought it's going to be similar. So you have plane tickets, hotels, all that stuff people made. And so the event is no longer. They may postpone it, is what I heard, to maybe January, February next year. Again, we'll see how that goes. I do know they're going to probably be doing a Fanatics Fest New York every year, so it'll probably be back again. But it's interesting, you know, things happen. The hurricane came through.
Yeah.
Whether it be because of the hurricane, whether it be because of ticket sales, whatever, people are going to have questions. I'm good friends with a guy named EJ who helps run the event, and he actually came here to Gainesville just to kind of check out the shop. He was in town because, you know, they had the event planning and cancellation. So he came up and we had a long talk. Those shows, man, those massive shows, the amount of money and the amount of time and effort that goes into putting on stuff like that is just really, I can't even imagine the man hours thinking about planning that stuff. But so we'll see what happens. No major show outside of the Upstate Card Show. The Upstate Card Show is this weekend.
This week, baby. We've been chatting about it for a few weeks now, and I'm sure you're running crazy and a lot of things going on, but it's finally here. You can breathe in another week.
Yeah, Monday, I said to Meredith, me and her just looking at each other today, I said, Monday morning, I can't wait for it, because there's a lot of expectations. You know, Meelypops is associated with the show, so the brand, but also people with card shows are very particular, and so you can't make everybody happy.
Sure.
We do our best. We work tirelessly. We had a little conundrum in this event because the hurricane came through, and in that building, which are all the basketball courts, there are these huge nets that come down that are powered by these massive motor things that they drop down and they divide the courts. Well, the whole system's fried. So all the nets are down, so we're going to have to kind of section off the show a little bit more. It changed the floor plan, all these kinds of little things that are big deals for some
People
of the
don't
vendors.
think about.
Yeah. So anyway, I can't stop Hurricane Helene, but at the same time, we're gonna make lemonade, as they say, when you get lemons. So I'm excited for it. It's gonna be a lot of vendors are coming. You got Javy's gonna be there. We're talking. We have these awesome Clemson trio of guys that are coming, including T.J. Moore, who's this stud wide receiver for Clemson. They're of course ranked number 8 or 9 now, I think. SGC is going to be on site, which is amazing because they're just taking in submissions. We'll have other group submitters for PSA, and then I just found out today that CGC and JSA are going to be there, which means they'll be helping with authentication of autographs. They'll be helping with witnessing, what they call, so they can put a sticker on when something gets signed. And they're also going to be offering take-in submissions for their new slabbing that we talked to Jimmy about. What was that, 2 months ago?
Yeah.
So that's going to be a fun feature. Kik Stradamus, who was on last week with us, he's just got out of his New York Comic-Con. I was watching him at the New York Comic-Con. It was crazy. He was signing his cards and comics and toys, and he's just on fire right now. So I'm excited for him to come, and he's got his 3-card set. Your boy Acuna is on the card, one of them. So it's just going to be a lot of fun. Of course, all of that, and then all the stuff we're doing for kids, the whole kids zone, free cards. Kids can dress up and get prizes, So there's just so much happening, and I just hope it all comes together. And we'll report back next week.
Yes, can't wait to hear about it. And I myself personally can't wait for the World Series. We've got a big one. You've got basically the 2 biggest markets in New York and LA, and that World Series seems to never happen. It's been decades since we've seen this pairing, and you potentially have 8 Hall of Famers on these rosters that could be like now featured in what we're going to watch. So that's kind of crazy. And then, of course, it's almost like it's lost, but the NBA starts.
Yeah.
And now you've got the Wemby talk. You've got, Bronny and, the conversation there, getting to play with Pops. And I guess we haven't talked about, is there Bronny cards out there or some of those out there? And are they a big deal right now?
Yeah, so Bronny cards came out. His first cards came out in a McDonald's All-American set from Topps Chrome. That was a high school set, and that actually had some really good names in it that have really, these players that have come up. But now he's in a lot of the Bowman Chrome universities. He doesn't have any Lakers cards out yet, which will be, I think, a big deal. And of course, there will be a card eventually with Bronny and Dad. So I think that will sell very well. But right now, there's a lot of, I would say in the hobby market, people aren't sure because he didn't look the greatest in the G League. Had one big kind of standout performance, but then we see reports that Bronny coming off the bench energizes Pops. So is this kind of a he's kind of like the back in the day Power Rangers had these little things where they would morph into something, right? So I'm wondering if Bronny is like that little Power Ranger thing to help Dad morph into
maybe
a big giant monster, So we'll see how it goes, man. I'm excited for NBA. It's what got me into cards, high-end cards. It's what got me into collecting back in the day. Cardinals was first, but then Shaq and Penny Hardaway when I moved to Florida was kind of what really got me involved more in cards. But I'm just excited to see it and thinking about cards that are high end. We had a big pull in the shop this past week.
Okay,
it was a Connor Bedard card.
Oh, so not even like baseball or basketball.
Yeah, it was hockey.
Yeah.
And so we didn't even talk about hockey, but hockey started just about 2 weeks ago, a week ago. So Connor Bedard, it was out of a product that I had last week. It was called Metal Universe.
Okay.
And there's a chase in that called the Precious Metal Gem, or PMG. So the PMG, for those of you who don't know, was initially put in basketball cards in the 90s. And the Jordan Green and the Jordan Reds go for millions of dollars. If you find there's only there's only 10 of the green and 90 of the red, and it was this really cool design that they came. It was kind of the most iconic insert from the 90s. Well, then it got into football, then it got into baseball. Then in the 2000s we started seeing different renditions of it, and since Upper Deck's had the license, from Fleer Skybox, they've kept doing it in hockey. So Connor McDavid has a massive PMG value from 2015, and now Connor Bedard has his. So this year. We had shout out to Hunter and Greg. They're just awesome guys that come to the shop. They're true hobby guys. They love hockey cards. They're big Lightning fans, but they go to the games. They came in, bought a case, and I get a text that they're driving, and Hunter's like, "We almost crashed," and he sends me this picture, and it's the Connor Bedard Gold PMG 1 of 1.
Wow.
Which they made 4 versions of the 101 because of his rookie season and Upper Deck milking it, But it's definitely I would say a mid 5-figure card. And so it was just super cool, maybe even higher, just super cool for them, so excited for them. And then they're just, him and his dad. So there's some cool pictures. We'll put it up on screen for you guys watching the podcast. But just a really cool moment. We haven't had a huge pull in a long time. And so it's we've been due. So it's been fun to see.
Awesome. It's such a great story. And I guess as you think about that, I can only imagine, especially, if you're in the car and you're in crash. But normally it's, you're there, you're sitting at a table or you're opening it. Like, do you remember, like, your biggest pull and, like, what those reactions are? I mean, I would assume it's got to be, like, a freak-out moment, right, if you know what you have?
Yeah. I think people it's always fun to see, like, there's card shops that will have, like, their security cameras showing the footage of when someone pulled a book card. That, in terms of, for us, I've been able to open more because of our break. So a lot of the huge hits we've had have been for other customers. So to think about the guy who came into a break and bought a $30 select basketball pack, 18-19, and it was like $30-$40, and then we pull a gold Luka auto out of it that he resold for $25,000-$30,000. Wow. So I mean, there's things like that, right? That you just kind of memories that you have, and that's just one of the many stories. But in a way, as owning a card shop, I think you become the umpire, you become the official, the referee, where you get to kind of watch it all, officiate it all, right? And it's been some memorable experiences.
Yeah, certainly really cool. And one quick memorable experience, just in news close to home here in Gainesville, Ricky Pearsall makes his NFL debut, which is just a tremendous story. Obviously a first-round pick. Gator fans know how much that we enjoyed watching him. He got the one-handed catch that he was able to pull off. But, I mean, to get shot and then now play in the same year, halfway through the year, it's a pretty tremendous story. He had 3 catches, but just to be on the field was really, really cool. And, now with everybody else getting hurt, Pearsall all of a sudden could be a guy. So do we go get Ricky Pearsall cards?
It was perfect timing, right? Like in terms of for him, because you think about the situation, horrible situation, but making light of it, how he was able to come back, the fans' acceptance and excitement for him. Now he's the staple in San Francisco, and Ayuk's out for the year, and who knows what the heck's going on with Deebo Samuel. Yeah. So now he's going to be thrust into a much more prominent role for that, pass-heavy offense, Kyle Shanahan, right?
Yep.
And so I think, like, Pearsall stuff has already been high because I think he's kind of a fan favorite already. If he does produce, I could see his stuff really jumping up, being kind of a feel-good story for the NFL. They're going to market that nonsense out of it. So his cards are actually a little higher than I thought. We've been buying some in the shop, and to see his autographs sell at $50, $75, $100, it's like, wow, that's getting to like the mid-tier quarterback level. So I'm excited to see what happens. This draft class is a lot of fun. Receivers, quarterbacks, defensive players. So we'll see for Ricky. Hopefully he can carry some of that.
So maybe momentum. Something you want to invest in if that story continues. And knowing from experience, he's definitely a really good-ass player on the field. Yeah. All right, this guy was really good on the field as well, even though it was a couple of decades ago. For all you 90s Braves fans, the nostalgia of Javy Lopez is next here on the Meelypod Hobby Podcast.
Alberta, I understand you were witnesses to a crash. Can you tell us about the accident? When you're in a crash, it's important to get witness statements immediately after the accident. Whether you're in a car, truck, motorcycle, scooter, or even a golf cart accident, at Meldon Law, we won't back down.
This is Jameel, owner of the Meelypop shop, Gainesville's home for collectibles of all sorts, including every single type of sports cards, whether it be Panini, Topps, Leaf, Upper Deck. We have it. Come on in, get yourself a box, a pack, get yourself some supplies, get into our breaks, get your Pokemon, get your Yu-Gi-Oh! All the other different kinds of TCG products that we carry in shop are always fully in stock. You can find our stuff on our website as well, meelypops.com. That's another way you can interact with the store, or you can just come into the shop. We're located off 39th Avenue by I-75 behind Walgreens and Sonny's. Stop on by. We're open every Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And you can check us out on our social media platforms, Instagram, TikTok, whatnot, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. We'd love to see you. Come on out to the shop, have some fun, be a part of the card community here in Gainesville, and always go Gators. Welcome back to the Meelypod Hobby Podcast, episode 21. As you can see, I'm solo. This is Jameel here. I don't have Jeff next to me, and I'm sure he's going to be hurting for this one because the Atlanta Braves extraordinaire catcher from the 90s, Javy Lopez, is going to be joining us here in a few moments. Big Braves fan. I got the Cardinals hat on today, but I got respect for the 90s Braves for sure. Looking forward to having Javy. As many of you know, Javy is going to be at our Upstate Card Show in Spartanburg, South Carolina, up in the Upstate, right there next to Greenville and that whole area, Clemson up there. And he's going to be coming to our event on the Saturday, signing autographs, meeting fans, a return, so to say, to Braves Nation. So looking forward to that. I think I just got notification Javy's on our virtual, so we're going to bring him in here. Javy, how you doing, man?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Of course, man. Of course. So I guess first question. I mean, you're in Southern California right now. So what's the weather like? How's Southern Cali treating you?
Weather is perfect. Morning time is around late, high 50s, and throughout the day is mid 70s. Can ask for a better weather.
The joy of California. Here in Florida, we have something called humidity. So we might get those numbers, and then all of a sudden it feels like it's 100 degrees. So I envy you, man. I envy you.
You guys are going to start getting cold weather there, though. Really cold.
Hopefully we'll get some cooler air for sure, man. But well, I thanks for being on here. I mean, I'm so excited for this interview because I grew up in the 90s as a 90s kid, watching my beloved Cardinals, Ozzie Smith back in the day, and Ray Lankford, Lee Smith, catch Tom Pagnozzi. But when I think about the 90s in terms of baseball, so many people just synonymize it with Braves, the Atlanta Braves, the success that you guys had. And your name always kind of pops into my head when it comes to the catcher from the 90s. People may talk about Piazza and others, but Javy Lopez, he's this guy who amazing defensive catcher, amazing hitter. Before I get into all the questions with you, I want to hear from you, though. Who would be some of your favorite catchers, maybe from past and present?
Well, I know Johnny Bench has been, one of my favorite since I was a little kid. But the one catcher that really inspired me to become a catcher was Benito Santiago. He was the guy who I was looking to be just like him in his rookie year. He was the sensation. He was on newspaper every day and put in headline every single day with San Diego. And I wanted to be like him, and he was the reason why I became a catcher.
What is it about his game that you you think about Benito and just all the different teams he played on his career? What is it that you just enjoyed about watching him play?
Well, the way he catch, he was one of the few guys in the major league who can throw runners out from his knee. Back in the days, today's day, a lot of catchers do that, but back in the days, only a handful of catchers can do that. And he was just a cool guy with long curly hair, hitting well, throwing people out. He was just a sensation.
Yeah, he embodied that position. I think about all the teams that he was on, and that's great. That's great. Any current catchers that you enjoy watching? Maybe say last decade or so.
Yeah, I mean, Jariel Molina just retired, but he was a fun catcher to watch. It's funny how easy it was for him to throw runners out, and it makes it easy. And the way he catch, the way he block, it makes everything look so easy. And I remember, being a catcher for so many years, it was so hard for me to block. It was so hard for me to throw runners out. And Jariel just makes it easy, a lot easy. Yeah. And then I really admire watching Real Muto from the Phillies. I think he's a tremendous catcher, tremendous receiver, blocker. He's just a good leader in that team. And, if I have to, give a kid's advice, I will point it at him, look at him, watch him catch, watching how he called the game and try to follow him, try to be like him.
Yeah. JT Realmuto, another just young star. It's amazing thinking about the position and how it's changed over the years. It's amazing to think about how much, the cerebral nature of a catcher having to know all the things going on. Really, just I think of as the captain, the head of the ship. I know the pitcher's pitching, but the catcher is doing so much beyond that. And so, has that been amazing to you to see how the position has evolved over the past 20, 30 years?
Oh yeah, especially the way the catcher set up behind home plate. I don't think blocking is a necessity today's day. Back then, you have to block every single pitch. Today's day, catchers, what I see, because they got one knee down, all they have to do is just throw the glove and try to pick it. They try to pick balls instead of just put their body in there and try to block it. Not, I don't mean every single catcher will do that, but the majority of the catcher do that since, they put that one knee down. But at the same time, I don't blame it. It's a good way to kind of rest your body, take care of your knee. You stay low, you get better frame. You can fool the umpire a lot better with a strike. So it's a give and take kind of thing. And I wish, think about it. I wish I would be able to do that, since I have 2 knee surgeries, and it was hard for me. See, I'm 6'3". It was hard for me to, call a pitch low and try to stay low. Or when I go inside, the hitter, try to be inside and keep the umpire room so he can see. Constantly, he keep pushing me on the side because I was kind of blocking his view on the inside part of the play. But if I have a knee down, it would be much easier for him to see the inside part of the plate.
Yes, it's. I'm just smiling when you talked about fooling the catcher. I just think about the game now, and before pre-pitch, but it's like every catcher is. I see gloves. It's almost like they're everywhere. In the world, they're just up here, down there, and then they finally set up. It's the game has changed so much, and the mental element in terms of how things are done pre-pitch and during pitch, post-pitch. It's really become. It can become tiresome for the viewer, right? Because there's so many things happening. That's all great insight, man, and it is the quintessential, 90s catcher vibe. I think everybody will flock to you and say that, that's the Javy Lopez era. And especially from the aspect of catcher who hit, right, as well. And so just tremendous success you had on the field. Of course, the World Series championship and All-Star and I think it was NLCS MVP. So many different things that you've accomplished. A lot of that with the Atlanta Braves. And so I know you're going to be in town this weekend in actually South Carolina. It's about 2 hours from Atlanta. But I've learned, Javy, that the Southeast, the continental United States Southeast, right, is really Braves Nation. When it comes to baseball, there are so many people in the Southeast. I mean, right now I'm in Gainesville, Florida. The Atlanta Braves are probably the number one team and players that we get asked for in the card shop. So, no knock on Tampa Bay or Miami, but Atlanta has just this far-reaching, tentacles across the country. Oh, yeah. So I wondered what was it like to play, for the Braves? Can you talk a little bit about the fans and being a part of Braves Nation? Because I think some people miss, how big it really is.
Yeah. First of all, I believe you guys are in Greenville or close to Greenville.
Yep.
And one of my best memory in minor leagues was playing for the Greenville Braves in 1992. We had the best team pretty much ever play in Greenville. We end up with a record of 143.
Wow.
We were the champion that year. And after we finished the championship game, the next day I was called up to the big league for the first time. And once I get to the big league, oh my God, you always dream about being in the big league and imagine how it looks like, but it's completely different once you get there and see everything in person. The bigger stadium, more fans, cameras everywhere. It was pretty amazing experience, all that, when I first got called up. But playing with the Braves, I was lucky enough to play with the best pitching staff in the 90s and early 2000. And with that, we won so many division series and was in the playoff all the time. We won a World Series in 95. So the popularity we got was so amazing. And it was so much fun to see yourself in pretty much in a billboard on every corner around the Atlanta area. And even a lot further, even Alabama and Tennessee, because the Braves are the only team pretty much all around the Southeast area until the Marlins came up. But the support from the fan from all these states, it was pretty amazing. And you don't realize how big of a fans base the Brave has until you actually start doing appearance in all these places, like Tennessee, Alabama, Florida, South Carolina, North Carolina. You would think that nobody will follow the Braves there, but once you go there, you'd be amazed how many people and how many fans you'll see there.
Well, I'm sure we'll see it this weekend, right? When the Braves contingent comes out to the Upstate Card Show. Thank you for being one of our autograph guests. You're going to be signing on Saturday. For those of you who may catch this podcast, come on out. You can get a chance to meet Javy, have him sign some of your memorabilia. I know he, as you can see, is an awesome guy. He's going to smile and be excited to see you. It's amazing to think, too, Javy, like you mentioned the fandom then. We're in 2024. We're talking, 20, 30 years later, and still to this day, the 90s Braves is just synonymous with fandom. Just people love. There's country songs written about the 90s Braves. I mean, it's one of these things that it's truly Americana, right? And so I'm excited to see all those smiling faces. And I've had some people even reach out to me and say, I'm going to get to bring my kid to the event. Javy was my hero growing up, or I loved watching Javy. Now I get a chance to share my kid with Javy and get a chance to meet him. And I think that's the kind of thing that we see with legacy, right? Passing it down, lasting generations, and collectibles. So I gotta ask you this question. So we're gonna have people asking doing a lot of signing here at the event. What's the wildest item that you've ever been asked to sign, or maybe what's the wildest inscription someone's ever asked you to sign?
It's been quite a few. One of them has been a lady's had a tattoo of my face in her ankle. So she wanted me to sign so she can have a tattoo over my signature. I thought that was pretty crazy, and I would never expect that, but it happens. The other one was a lady who just brought me I think we just a plain hat of the Braves, and it was supposed to be for her dad, and her dad passed away, and they were going to bury him with a hat with my signature in it. I'm like, ooh. And beside those two things, there have been quite a few naughty stuff that I had to end up signing.
Well, Jeff is not here, but he told me to bring up Hunky Javy, how that was one of the nicknames you had back in the day, and all the ladies would come and flock out for autographs. So I'm sure there may be some ladies coming to the event as well, but we're gonna have a good time. And I'm just thinking about the amount of pain it is to get your ankle tattooed, but then to get it tattooed again with an autograph over it. So that shows some diehard fandom there from Braves country for sure.
Like, whoa.
Well, we're here with Javy Lopez, episode 21 on the Meelypod Hobby Podcast, just talking about life and life post baseball. When you think about baseball cards, because this is what we do, we live and breathe cards here. When you think about your old cards, do you ever have a preference? Because you have so many cards, whether it be the Braves, Orioles, batting, and then you have so many cards fielding. I always wonder, like, as a catcher who was very synonymous with both sides of the plate, what poses do you prefer on a baseball card?
I really don't have any preference. I would like both of them, but I either like it hitting in action or catching in action. I'm not too crazy about sitting on the dugout looking at the game or stand up looking at something. I'm okay with it, but I'm not crazy about it. I like action cards better.
Awesome. Well, when people come out to the event, I'll make sure that they bring some action cards to get you to sign them. Then for sure. Yeah, I tend to agree with you. Some of those pictures of people warming up or sitting on the bench, I don't really understand it, but I love a good action pose, or like, for example,
Exactly.
shortstop turning two, or a guy mid swing. Those are the most iconic ones. Really quick, since we're talking about baseball, do you have a prediction in the World Series? You got the Dodgers and you got the Yankees coming up. What do you think?
It's going to be a good series. It's hard to predict because both teams are pretty much even. But I think the Dodgers might get it just because their pitching staff is better, in my opinion.
Dodgers are in 6, 5, 4, 7. How many games do you think?
I hope we go all the way to 7 just to watch more baseball.
Love it.
I hope, and I think that's going to be my prediction.
I like it. It's gonna be a great series. I think everybody has wanted this series for so long to see with these just kind of empires of the baseball franchises. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Jeff and I were talking about it earlier. The Yankees potentially in that game 8 Hall of Fame players potentially in this series, to think about the ramifications of that. It's amazing. Yeah. So flipping it back to baseball cards, I know a lot of people love to talk about your 1991 Bowman rookie card. That's kind of this quintessential rookie card of yours. But I want a twist on it here. I was doing some research, and I came across the 1990 Pro Cards Single A, Double A Minor League Stars card, number 132. And the crazy thing about this card, Javi, is it's got this like safety cone orange. It's got this orange border to it. So I want to know, do you remember that card at all? And tell me something about it.
Is that the one I got right here?
There it is right there. There he is. Javy Lopez, Pro Cards.
That was I think that was the very first card I ever seen. I was in Burlington, Iowa, and that was my 3rd year in the minor leagues. And I was wondering, when do I start getting baseball card? Because I've seen a lot of these players getting baseball card right away in the minor leagues, and I was wondering when my baseball card is finally going to come out. And it took 3 years, but finally, this was my very first one. And right after that, that was the Greenville Braves. Yeah, definitely. That was my very, very first one.
What was it like when you held that, Javi? When you got that card, what was the feeling like when you saw yourself on a baseball card?
I was pretty excited. The first thing I asked is, I need tons of cards and share with my family, my friends. It was, I felt that's when I really start feeling like a professional baseball player since I had my own baseball card.
It's kind of that final stamp, right? As a kid, you collect and you see players, Mickey Mantle, Clemente, Nolan Ryan, and then all of a sudden you have yourself on a baseball card. It must be a very surreal feeling.
Yeah, that's for sure. It was pretty neat.
Do you have any favorite cards stashed away, or is there a favorite card of yours that you have that was ever made?
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I was looking for it. I couldn't find it. It was the Durham Bull. They misspelled my name. Instead of Javy Lopez, they say Davy Lopez. I thought that was a pretty good mistake, and it was kind of one of my favorite. My other favorite is this one. This was my second. This was in Greenville, as a matter of fact.
Oh yeah,
Greenville Braves. Even though it's not an action picture, but since I knew I was going to take a picture for a baseball card, I try to get myself neat. Fold,
you got the Rico Suave, man.
Fold my sleeves on the side.
Look at that. Look at the biceps on that one.
Guns out and try to look cool. And I think that was a pretty special card for me.
Yeah, some of those cards they're kind of lost in translation because once you get into Tops and Upper Deck and Bowman, people forget about some of those pre-cards, and I enjoy those the most. There's certain promo cards, or like you said, there's error cards, and in the 90s it was known, in late 80s to early 90s, that they were printing so many baseball cards. I mean, it was fanatical that they made a lot of errors, right? And they were just trying to get the cards out as quick as possible. So we see a lot of those, and so you said the Javy Lopez, huh? That's the one card that people need to look out for. That's awesome. But it's cool watching and seeing some of your collection there. It seems like you enjoy some of the earlier stuff versus the later stuff.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Well, cool, man. I get hounded all the time. Even telling people about this interview, people are like, Braves fans wanted me to ask you all these Braves questions, and I think I'm gonna change it up a little bit here. I could ask you about all the crazy things you've been asked about with the pitchers in the 90s, the World Series runs, what it was like to play with John Rocker. I mean, just the craziest questions that I'm sure that you get. But I want to know a little bit about your stint with the Baltimore Orioles. Obviously, you got traded there in the early 2000s. So I want to know what your time was like in Baltimore and some memories maybe you have of being up there.
Well, I cannot say anything bad about the Baltimore Orioles. They treat me really, really good. I think that was a really good organization. The only thing that really bothers me was the owner. It was a guy that really he don't spend time with the players, with the team, and kind of take care of them. We were having a lot of out-of-date equipment. Our family room where our wives were waiting for us, that was kind of outdated. No food, no nothing. I think those are little things that, as an owner, you need to take care of it to make your player happier and better place for them to play. Besides that, the organization itself is full of great people. We had a great team. We just needed the pitching. We didn't have the pitching. We got a tremendous offensive team. But overall, I really enjoy my time with Baltimore.
Yeah, it's interesting hearing you say that because you think about in 2024, if you're an owner and you're not doing those things, those players are gone. So, I mean, in a way, you were a forerunner and your teammates for making those changes as we see now, just the amount of detail that's put in from the ownership to the player level. I'm sure that it's a catch-22 because, back in the day, it would have been nicer to have had those things. But at the same time, now you've, kind of paved a way for players, MLBPA and these kinds of things that are pushing for, better things for the players, obviously. And people forget how big baseball teams are, right? I mean,
especially for the players' family.
Yeah.
They're there every single day. And, a little bit of better care for them would be nice. But, all the players will have a better peace of mind.
Yeah, I had an opportunity. A good friend of mine, Evan Longoria, invited me out to go see a game when he was on San Francisco, and he gave me his tickets. Well, of course, that was for his family, so I was sitting with all of the family members and from all the different players, and you just realize, that these people are intensely invested. So I know a lot of your success has probably come from family and the support you've had over the years, and so many players always, bring that up. So it's thank you for sharing that because I think it's very telling. Thinking forward, and maybe a future owner will hear this and make those changes.
Oh no, I'm pretty sure that it's way better now.
Yeah, I'm sure it is a little bit.
We did complain back in the day. We did complain a lot. I hope hopefully that our word was heard and things change.
Yeah. So speaking about the Orioles, I know you miss playing with him, by a few years. But do you have any, stories about the Iron Man, Cal Ripken Jr. at all? Did you ever cross paths with him, at the stadium?
No, but he came to our clubhouse and visit us and shake hands and have a word or two with the players, and really nice guy. I met him a few times before that in the All-Star game. But yeah, that's about it. Other than that, I've barely seen him.
Yeah, he a lot of the 90s players I think embody. I think about one of my childhood, heroes, Ozzie Smith, Cal Ripken, yourself. There's these players in the 90s that really just resemble and carried the game in a very elegant way, even during amidst all of the crisis that we were seeing, right? And so there are players, and I love to bring up players like Cal. He was somebody who used to stay after every game and sign autographs for everybody that wanted one. And those kinds of things you just miss, these days. We don't see it as much. So, thanks for sharing that about the Orioles. I know the insight sometimes you get Braves all the time. So it's nice to hear a different take for sure. Well, I love seeing baseball players at all ages, especially in the shop, like, the Little League. They come in with their uniforms. They get a baseball pack of cards. Their mom, gives them $5 or whatever it might be. And it gets me kind of riled up just, thinking about these kids when they have their favorite players, Mookie Betts or Mike Trout or Ohtani, and they come in and they're talking about all their cards and their favorite teams. I'd love to hear maybe one piece of advice that you'd give this current generation of little leaguers who play catcher. I know you kind of touched on it with Real Muto and watching him, but what are some things that maybe you would share, for the younger generation?
Yeah, they need to understand that the most important part of being a catcher is catching the ball. As a little leaguer, they need to focus on working on catching balls. There's plenty of drills out there. Doesn't even need a glove to do drills to catch balls. Right now I'm coaching Little League here in Dana Point, California. And part of the reason I say that is because a lot of our catchers, after 2 strikes, pitchers strike him out, it's always drop the ball. Drop the ball goes away, have to throw the first. Sometimes it's out, sometimes it's safe. But just realize, the one important thing as a catcher is to catch the ball, no matter where, no matter how. The other thing is block. If you can work on blocking, that would be tremendous, because catcher needs to understand that he got 3 jobs. It's catching, blocking, and throwing. But catching and blocking, for me, is the most important, because that will give the pitcher the confidence. He can have the ability to throw pretty much any pitch, anytime. He can bounce it and understand that he will have a catcher who will block that pitch and avoid, the runner to move to second base or even scoring if he's men on third base. And then, obviously, you got to work on your arm. Timing. Most of the time, a lot of the time, base runners steal the base. A lot of the time, it's not your fault. Pitchers sometimes take a lot of time to deliver the ball. But when a pitcher give you a pretty good timing, then it's your job to get that runner down. So you need to work on your arm and leg, footwork, and all that stuff in order to be the catcher you want to be. And with that, you have to understand that the catcher is kind of like the heart of the team. He pretty much controls the game. He have to be the smartest guy out there, because he have to call the game. You have to understand how each and every hitter approach. You have to understand that your first at bat will be totally different as his second at bat. It's going to come with a different approach, because you already seen pitches from here in the first at bat. So you have to memorize all that. So you have to be smart. You have to study the game. You have to be the leader. It takes a lot. But if you love the game, those things will be very enjoyable to do and work on it.
Yeah, there's some nuggets there that you dropped. So you brought up the coaching side of it right now. So going from your prestigious career to now coaching and in Little League, what's been one thing that you never expected, being a coach and on that side of the ball with Little Leaguers?
Well, Little Leaguers, they're fun. They're a fun kid. It's 11 years old. It's a fun age, but this is the perfect timing to work with them, because they're so young. They can retain, and they love the game. They like to work, and it's fun to see the progress. At the beginning of the season, you'll see this team full of what do they call the? Oh my God, talking about that movie, the Bears. Uh,
The Bad News Bears?
the Bad News Bear. You see at the beginning of the season, you see a bunch of Bad News Bear, and then towards the end of the season, you see all the progress. So you see all the work we put into these kids, and you can see how the kids really took advantage of our learning, to our teaching, and it's fun to see the progress towards the end.
Yeah, that must be
And
super.
they like to appreciate every day. They say thank you, coach, thank you, coach, thank you, coach, and that's the best thing you can hear from a kid who really loved the game and wants to be better.
Must be super rewarding, that feeling. And we'll have to, before you leave to fly back from the card show, I'll have to send you back with some boxes to give the kids, all right? Some packs so they can open up, and you can have some fun with them opening packs. Maybe it can be a reward if they do well. Yeah, for sure. Well, we would. I'd love to talk to you even longer. I know you're a busy man. You got a lot going on. So I got one last segment here of our interview. We end our segments always with a rapid fire segment. It's brought to you by Titan MRI. It's called the Titan MRI Rapid Fire segment. And what I do is I'm gonna ask you a bunch of questions. I've picked up some stuff from the 90s and thrown some stuff here. And I'm going to throw you some curves, throw you some sliders, throw you a couple fastballs. But I want you to answer them in maybe 20 seconds or less. Are you okay with that?
Let's do it.
All right, buddy. Here we go. The Titan MRI Rapid Fire segment here on the Meelypod Hobby Podcast with Javy Lopez. All right, first question, Javy. The chicks still dig the long ball?
Absolutely.
I love it. Which Javy has more swag? 90s Javy Lopez or 2010s Javy Baez?
I don't know Javy Baez very well, but I believe I am. I know today's day, the way they dress, it's kind of like totally different. I know back in the 90s, when we dress and go around, we have to dress nice. You have to look good everywhere you go. Today's day, they can wear jeans, they can wear a shirt. I don't know. I think my time, my era, it's got the swag a lot better.
I like it. I mean, you brought it out with the 90s baseball card showing your biceps off and just kind of the clean look back in the 90s. Javy Baez used a lot of the necklaces and jewelry and stuff. I don't know how those guys play with all that, to be honest. But all right,
how's that allowed?
Yeah, how is that allowed? It's a great question. All right, so staying on this swag element, who is the all-time flashiest Puerto Rican baseball player?
I would say it's Ruben Sierra. The guy was tailor-made from head to toe everywhere he goes. He's got the style. He's got the move. He's just, Ruben Sierra.
I think I remember Ruben and some baseball cards, big chains and stuff too, if I remember correctly. But yeah, that's a good one. That's a really good one. Thanks.
Yeah, big change. Yeah, and the shoes were tailor-made. Even his car with the Sierra name on it, and it was like, one of a kind.
So you young folks, if you're looking for some swag tips, go Google Ruben Sierra and check out his style, according to Javy Lopez. All right. Outside of Atlanta and Baltimore, was there ever a favorite stadium that you played at?
I like the Dodgers Stadium. I think it's a beautiful stadium, beautiful weather, beautiful atmosphere, and when you play there, you got that really good feeling of playing there. Not mention that at the same time behind you is Steven Spielberg, Tom Hanks, and all these famous actors watching you playing. It's kind of makes you feel pretty special.
Yeah, I'm just thinking out. You mentioned all the actors and celebrities. Can you imagine this World Series with New York and LA? The amount of celebrities are going to be out. That's going to be wild.
Full of actors back there.
The ticket prices.
It's pretty special playing there.
All right, so you bring up LA. You bring up that as a stadium that you enjoyed playing at. I'm going to flip it now. Was there ever a stadium that you hated playing at?
I would say the old Milwaukee Municipal Stadium. That was that was pretty bad. I much rather played in some of these minor league stadium than playing in that municipal stadium. It's not there anymore, but back then I got a chance to play quite a few times there.
Got it. All right, we'll make note of that one. That's a good one. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say it. You tell me which one to pick: Jennifer Lopez, Mario Lopez, or George Lopez.
Well, George Lopez is the only one that makes me laugh. So George Lopez.
Got it. I could have added you to the mix, but I wanted to try some other smaller Lopez's in the mix.
Yeah.
So, okay, you can only pick one, Javy. Who would you have loved looking forward to catching for? Phil Niekro, Warren Spahn, or I'll throw a twist in here, Max Fried.
Well, I didn't know. Definitely not Phil Niekro. I hate catching knuckleballs. It's a nightmare. It's a catcher's nightmare. Warren Spahn would be excited to catch just because he's Warren Spahn and he's a Hall of Famer. And yeah, it'll be interesting to catch him. Matt Fry, I know him. I see him play a pitch. It'll be interesting to catch him, but it's not in the Hall of Fame yet. So I would say Warren Spahn.
I think many people will probably agree with that answer. Yeah, it's always fun thinking about some of the people that you could have caught for. All right, last one, Javy. Got this big show this weekend. How excited are you to return back to the Southeast, to South Carolina, near Atlanta, and to see all these folks at the Upstate Card Show?
I'm so looking forward to it. It's been a while. Ever since I moved to California 10 years ago, I haven't been able to do much with the community. Well, I do a little bit around here, but it's not the same as it was in Atlanta because Atlanta is all Braves fan. Here, there's hardly any Braves fan. But I really miss doing all that, and I'm totally looking forward to do it again. Back in Greenville, the place where I had pretty much my best year in the minor league before I became a major league player.
We'll see how many Greenville Braves cards show up from that area. It's the Greenville Drive now for Boston, their affiliate. And actually, I don't know if you know this, but Spartanburg, where the event is going to be held, will have the Texas Rangers affiliate next year. So that whole area, in terms of baseball, is very rich. The fandom is there, and I'm sure they're going to come out in droves to see you, man. Thank you for this time, for this short interview, but looking forward to meeting you in person and making a lot of fans happy with autographs. So it'll be a fun weekend.
Absolutely. Well, let me say something. I'm wearing a sling because of my shoulder surgery, so I have to excuse people out there for that. But I'll be fine. I'll be taking picture, autograph, whatever.
Yeah, so we said
it'll be fun.
When people come by, don't his left shoulder. Don't tap the left shoulder. We'll make sure we protect that. But Javy will be there. You'll see that smile, and thank you so much for the time, man. It's been an honor and a privilege. We'll see you in a few days.
Sounds good. Looking forward to it. Thank you.
All right, Javy. Thanks, man. We'll see you soon.
Take care. All right. Bye-bye.
See you now. Well, there you have it. There's Javy Lopez, the Atlanta Braves, Baltimore Orioles, Boston Red Sox catcher extraordinaire, World Series champion, All-Star multiple times, and he's going to be at the Upstate Card Show this weekend. What a great interview! What a great guy, and can't wait to report back next week on all the fans that came out to see him. All right, that'll end our segment 2. We'll come back for segment 3, and we'll see you in just a moment.
Things have certainly got a little out of hand lately when it comes to just buying our everyday necessities. Just look at gas, streaming services, and heck, even chicken wings. Well, there is one necessity that shouldn't cost a ton: taking care of yourself and helping fix all the aches and pains in life, and the fine folks at Titan MRI agree. With costs a fraction of what you'd pay at a hospital, you'll not only save money, you'll be taken care of by staff with over 20 years experience. So when you need an MRI, call Titan first, and you can go where your doctors send their families. Now offering CAT scans. All right, we are back here on the Meelypod Hobby Podcast. Jameel, I'm sure that was awesome getting to talk to Javy. I stepped out just because I wanted Jameel to just have all the love. I got so many opportunities as a young kid to go to Brave Spring Training in the 90s. I grew up about 15 minutes from there, so a ton of Javy Lopez autographs. I think my favorite thing that I ever had, Jameel, is it's a bat. And they used to sell the wooden bats that got broken during spring training. And that was when nobody went to spring training. It was really easy. So you'd buy this bat for like $10. So I have Javy and then Maddox, Glavin, Smoltz, and Avery
On a game-used bat.
on a game-used bat, which
That's
is
awesome.
one of my coolest possessions. One of these days we'll have to get it authenticated and make it fun. But that must have been fun chatting with him.
Yeah, no, just as you guys heard, I was just a genuine guy, and getting to talk a little bit about baseball cards is fun. With these '90s guys, I grew up in the '90s, and baseball nostalgia was '80s and '90s, and like we said, he's the '90s catcher, and so that comes to mind for me at least, and I think many people would say that he's just so consistent, hitting on the field in the playoffs, World Series champ, and so just a cool dude, and if you get a chance and you're in the Southeast, come out. You can get a chance to meet Javy, take a picture, get something signed at the Upstate Card Show. We'd love to have you. It's going to be just an awesome time with him. He'll be there on Saturday, the 26th, which is in a few days. So please stop by and be a part of it. Or if you can't come, let some people know in that area. It's Braves Nation up there in the Southeast. So.
Well, and this is a great way to play it, because not only do the guys from, being Braves fans or whatever, or loving Javy Lopez, I remember all the times where the ladies loved Javy as well. I mean, he was hunky Javy. So, maybe you can say, hey, to your wife, your significant other, whatever it might be, just, hey, Javy Lopez is going to be at this little card show. It's only an hour away. Let's go.
Say,
and I bet she would love it.
Tell the missus, I'm going to be paying for some autographs, but you can have free looks.
That's right.
Right?
That's what it's all about. All right, well, we love looking at wax, and it is now our wax segment here on episode 21. And if you're enjoying it, if you enjoy the Javy Lopez interview, make sure you tell your friends about it. You can find us on so many different platforms, podcast-wise, as we broadcast things here, thanks to Meldon Law. And it's just, I guess probably a slower week for wax. Probably because there's so many other sports going on.
Sure.
And there's like, hey, let's step aside and let the real life sports go on a little bit, right?
Yeah, you're starting to see, I think, with Panini. I have a lot of friends. They've been great to our shop, right? They've been a huge focus of our shop, getting us to where we're at, And so shout out to everybody at Panini. I think they're having some production issues, and so you're starting to see, I think, some delays. Like last week, for example, Origins WNBA basketball we didn't get on even the release date. It came the next day. And so this week is Select WNBA, which is going to be a massive release. It's 2 of 3 WNBA releases for the year. And I'm glad it just came out, because we just got the finals.
Sure.
Shout out to Liberty, which was a very controversial ending
weird,
if you watched it. But to see still the fervor for Caitlin Clark, I mean, it's very, very real. And not just her. Angel Reese stuff selling very well on eBay. Cam Brink stuff selling very well. So these are rookie autographs. Asia Wilson does very well. So there's a market there that is growing. I'm not sure where the league's going. I read some interesting stuff about it with the bargaining, and could they be going towards a lockout? Who knows? Yeah. But we'll see. And I just think with cards, you hope to have it on time. So the big release this week, I say all that to say, is 23-24 WNBA, or 2024 WNBA Select Basketball, which will have really the chrome Caitlin Clark rookies that people are going to really desire until Prism comes out. So make sure you get in some Caitlin Clark. I will say, if you're looking to hold it for long term, taper back a bit. Maybe hold that stuff for a little bit from buying it. Maybe wait a little bit. But I think it's going to be an awesome release. Some other stuff that's coming out this week: Stadium Club Chrome UEFA Club Champions, which is a big release for soccer, because they make these really cool picturesque. The celebration goals, like cards like that. Got guys with the silhouette, and then the back of the stands, things like that. Really cool photography. I wouldn't call it cinematography, but photography on these cards. And so it's a big release that people love. Chasing the refractors, of course, there's super fractors and autographs and those kinds of things. So big soccer release for you soccer heads. We also have, and they have a Breakers Delight as that as well. So it's not just Hobby this year.
Nice.
Hobby and Breakers Delight. And then we have Impeccable Soccer also coming out, which from the Panini side, Impeccable Soccer is like a very high-end quality. They always put big names in it. So looking forward to seeing that. And then just lastly, excuse me, the non-sport world, you got the Upper Deck Marvel Allegiance Infinity Trilogy. There's been a lot of Upper Deck products with Marvel coming out, and so we're seeing a lot more of that. I know there will be more coming, but just another fun week for releases as NBA starts, as NFL kicks into full gear, as NHL has started, and as MLB hits the postseason. We're in that time in October where hobby really is just moving. You know what I mean? So I'm excited for, again, the card show this weekend. I think it's going to be fun to see what everybody's buying and selling and trading. So
that's going to be awesome. Something else I saw awesome, too, is there was a little Halloween theme card that was coming out, right? That you were touting on Instagram to. I might go buy some to hand out to the kids.
Yeah, so Panini did a good job with making. They have a football and they have a basketball, Halloween theme product, and so they're 3 cards in a pack. Pokemon also does this, so it's great. I think whenever we've ever passed out candy, we've been free to do it.
Yeah.
I think that giving cards out is just a fun way to get people excited about it. I will say, whenever we've done passing out candy or cards, Pokemon cards has always been number 1 over candy. So we'll see how it goes with basketball cards this year, but the Hallow Hoops or something they call it, I think it's just kind of a fun thing. And Wembanyama has parallels in it too, so you can get a Halloween-themed Panini Wembanyama card.
That would be really, really awesome. All right. Well, this was awesome yet again. Hope you all enjoyed it. Appreciate you tuning in to the Meelypod Hobby Podcast. And guess what? We'll do it again next week and have a lot of fun doing it. So, and can't wait to hear about the card show, how Carolina was. Go enjoy it. And make sure you have a lot of fun. That's what you always do, man.
Come on out to the card show. Don't make an excuse, especially if you're up in that area. We'd love to see you. It's going to be a lot of fun Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Dealers from all around the nation, and a lot of work went into it. So.
And he looks much better in person, so come check him out. That's Jameel. I am Jeff, and you've been listening to the Meelypod Hobby Podcast.
Thank you for joining us. We will see you next Thursday at noon.